Hey, what's up everybody? It's the Crypto Ginger here. Guys, this is going to be a very quick video, but I wanted to touch base with everyone regarding some information that's actually come to light when it comes to Libracoin. Now, some of you guys might have already heard this information. I'm just going to try to compile as much as I can together here. But outside of understanding that Libracoin is the Facebook cryptocurrency, and understanding as well, as you can see with this little chart, that there are some very substantial names, big entities out there that are really helping back this up, is going to really help propel this in a way that a lot of other cryptocurrencies might not have had. And of course, understanding that there's already a built-in audience for Facebook, roughly around 2.3 billion accounts that are active, and really at this point in time, any of those people can actually get themselves into the Libracoin. But you got to understand as well, the past has not been very helpful for Facebook, and especially the exposure that they've actually had when it comes to taking your information and having it released to third-party entities out there, selling it to them. Facebook monitoring your accounts, monitoring what you're posting, monitoring what you're saying and doing, and of course having your accounts flagged. Those are really things that we should be paying attention to when it comes to this new Libracoin from Facebook, especially understanding that with them tracking your information, it's quite possible they can track your Libracoin transactions from where you're posting it from one wallet to another, or from one area to an exchange, how much you're purchasing, things of that nature. So it's giving them some vital information that they might be able to use against you or use against other cryptocurrencies. Now that's another story in itself. I just find it very interesting that what we do know of Facebook has definitely been a hindrance for a lot of people, but now we have this new Libra cryptocurrency to be introduced to this audience that's already on their platform. We could see a lot of things happening in a very negative way. I would guess that this right here is most certainly going to be a positive thing, because it gives people another corridor to get themselves into other cryptocurrencies such as Bitcoin, XRP, Ethereum, Litecoin. Really, your top performing coins are going to be, I think, the ones that prosper from this particular movement here. But nonetheless, guys, a lot of things you got to consider when it comes to getting yourself into a cryptocurrency such as Libracoin. And of course, as well, there have been a lot of entities or people out there, are really around the world, that are expressing their concerns, and of course what they do not think is supposed to be happening when it comes to this Libracoin coming into existence. As a matter of fact, we immediately started seeing information coming out about the opposition of this particular new release of the Libracoin that's supposed to take place roughly around 2020. Now, of course, the first bit of information came from Europe when it comes to this political stance. We had French Finance Minister Bruno Le Maire stating that this right here is something that should not be happening, and it should not be a replacement really for traditional currencies out there, which I have definitely heard this argument. We've all heard this argument from so many different people out there, so many bankers. But as you can see here, he goes to state that it is out of question as far as the Libracoin to become a sovereign currency. And of course, what they're afraid of is that this right here could be something that could replace different types of fiat currencies out there, especially their own. So I can understand them getting a little bit more up in arms when it comes to this particular opposition here. But really, I think there's going to be a lot more underlining that these countries know about Facebook, that they really just simply do not want this to be in existence. And of course, if this is the case, we would have heard this throughout every single day of every single month from these countries with their opposition towards cryptocurrencies in general. But very specifically, they're talking about Libracoin here. So again, understanding that Libra is part of Facebook. Facebook has a built-in audience of 2.3 billion people. That's all over the globe. This right here is absolutely going to be something that would impact so many countries on a very global scale here. And of course, again, that would be immediate attention coming into the cryptocurrency space, which gives a lot of people who are part of the central banks a pretty big scare when it comes to money flowing right into cryptocurrency and not through their central banks. But of course, again, I think there's a lot more underlining about the Libracoin and Facebook when it comes to all these banks and these major players out there, especially understanding the big entities that have had any type of involvement in Facebook for the longest amount of time. That's a scary thought in itself. But again, we have quite a bit of opposition taking place here, at least from this standpoint. Again, this coming out almost immediately after we got the news about Libracoin. This is coming from Europe. As a matter of fact, more information about people in the United States when it comes to opposition here. So when it comes to the United States, we definitely have people on both sides of the spectrum, Republicans and Democrats alike, expressing their concerns for the new Libracoin and, of course, this big project from Facebook. As a matter of fact, we can see here from Politico.com that Maxine Waters, who's a Democrat, she most certainly actually expressed her concerns about this right here. Now, I have concerns about Maxine Waters in general, but the fact that she's bringing this to her committee and, of course, urging that the social media giant hold off on their plans to develop this new digital currency because of scrutiny from Congress, that right there should tell you something when it comes to this big conglomerate company and having Congress actually very concerned about the direction for creating a cryptocurrency. And interesting enough here, we definitely know a lot of things that have come out to the public about Facebook. I can't even imagine what Congress knows about Facebook, and if they're concerned that this big company has already created a monopoly and now going about trying to create a cryptocurrency to take over at least a little bit of a global expansion into the cryptocurrency ecosystem, yeah, I can understand that Congress is definitely concerned. As a matter of fact, Republicans are definitely concerned as well. We see a Republican senator talking about how this right here, expanding upon Facebook's already expanding monopoly, is quite frankly, something to be alarmed by when it comes to, again, the Congress side of things. Of course, this representative from the Republican side stated that we need to see exactly what their specific proposals are. This is having to do with Facebook. They're also very concerned about Facebook's behavior on the range of fronts. They're also concerned about the size. I would imagine they're also going to be concerned about how big they can get outside of this here. They're also concerned about the anti-competitive conduct and also the rampant violations of privacy. So guys, when you think about privacy and you think about getting on the blockchain, a lot of your transactions aren't necessarily private because it can be tracked on the public ledger. Now, what is private is really your private keys if you're holding those, but the idea that people can actually see different types of transactions taking place because of the public ledger kind of goes against the idea that there might be some violations of privacy, except for what Facebook is possibly able to do with your information. If they're actually able to track your transactions from your Libra to other cryptocurrencies, to other exchanges, to other wallets, imagine what they'll be able to do with that to third parties that are already buying the information about you on Facebook. So definitely something to consider, guys, when it comes to what's happening here. I'm going to guess that this right here, this whole movement with the Libracoin, this should be something that actually helps spark the regulatory clarity coming from the SEC, hopefully very soon, when it comes to, again, finding some sort of specifics as to what is the regulatory clarity on different types of cryptocurrencies. Is Libra going to actually be considered something that falls in the guidelines of what, would be considered a regular token or cryptocurrency? Does it fall under being a security? We don't know at this point in time, but the nice thing about having that kind of information being exposed is that we could find out more information about those other digital cryptocurrencies out there, the digital assets such as XRP, for example. And I think that what we're finding out here is that with all these connections being made through Ripple and, of course, these major banks and financial institutions, and now seeing Ripple connect with MoneyGram, and MoneyGram being this huge company that actually has the exposure for getting money all over the world, but more predominantly, a lot of stores like Walmart, for example, hold MoneyGram stations in their location. If the United States is already supporting that, and now MoneyGram and Ripple are partnered up together, MoneyGram is going to be leveraging XRP. What do you think that the SEC is already looking at when it comes to some sort of regulatory clarity for XRP? My guess is that they've already at least set aside the notion that we're not going to see any type of scrutiny, or at least some sort of hammer coming down upon XRP, the digital asset, deeming it a security, because at this point in time it's being sold as an ability for MoneyGram to be using it as leverage when it comes to sending money back and forth. And of course, when you talk about the idea of whether or not XRP is being considered a security, just kind of think about the whole process of what just took place with Ripple and MoneyGram. Here we have XRP researcher, who is somebody on Twitter that I would definitely suggest following, at XRP News _. He posted, "For the 100th time, XRP isn't a security, just ask US-based MoneyGram, who will be using XRP to move money in and out of the US." So guys, that is a very, very good example there. I I think that this right here is something that should open up everybody's eyes when it comes to whether or not we're going to see some sort of regulatory clarity on XRP. Guys, MoneyGram is using it in the United States to process money back and forth in and out of the US. That right there should absolutely tell you something. A big entity like MoneyGram is using it. Where do you think the clarity stands for XRP? So at this point in time, guys, it's just something to keep in mind when it comes to what's happening. We might start seeing a lot more regulations coming out, but at this point in time, I think that we're safe to say that XRP is really on top of its game for being a digital asset out there that doesn't have to worry about having some sort of regulatory clarity about whether it's a security or not. It's already been purchased and actually going to be processed through MoneyGram. So be on the lookout for additional types of advancements and, of course, partnerships. And I guess at the same time, with major banks and players out there, we're going to start seeing even more advancements happening for Ripple, the company. So again, I don't know if we have to necessarily worry so much about some sort of SEC regulatory clarity on it. We already know that they're actually being purchased in the United States by major companies out here. So the sky's the limit at this point in time for XRP. For Libra, I'm not exactly sure. We're going to have to see how that goes into effect here. Of course, one last thing I wanted to quickly go over as well. And of course, to help out with the speedy process of trying to figure out what kind of regulatory clarity is going to be happening, I would imagine that the Fast Action Task Force, or the FATF, is really going to help when it comes to different types of rulings for cryptocurrencies and virtual assets. And of course, we're actually seeing here that legislators are endorsing virtual asset summits, and this is going to be convened in response to the coming FATFA crypto rules. Now, of course, this is going to be running alongside the G20, which we've been hearing quite a bit about. It's going to be taking place roughly around June 28th and 29th. But here we can see in this article that the Fast Action Task Force is going to be a part of the V20, which is just slightly a little bit different than the G20. Here we can see, according to the report, the V20 summit will take place alongside the G20 Leaders Summit in Osaka in June 28th and 29th, and will convene G20 representatives, national blockchain associations, VASPs, and legislators from numerous jurisdictions. So, of course, what we're seeing here is that not only we're going to have the G20 summit meeting, but we're also going to have a V20 summit meeting taking place. And, of course, I'm thinking that what we're going to see here is some of the big heads actually getting together, talking about crypto rules, some maybe regulatory clarity, and regarding to what's happening to this expansion in the cryptocurrency space right now, and especially with Libracoin coming out. I mean, come on, this right here is one of those situations where Facebook is now a dominant force when it comes to getting themselves into this market, and they have a huge audience. 2.3 billion people could possibly be immersed into the cryptocurrency ecosystem, and of course that could happen faster than most people are actually aware of. So you have to keep all this information in mind, guys. But again, what we're seeing here is the possibility of, again, some of the bigger name players going to the G20, possibly merging into the V20 summit right alongside of that, and of course having some more talks about different types of crypto rulings happening here. And I would definitely say that we're going to be hearing more about this in the very, very near future. Again, this is going to be happening at the end of June, so be on the lookout for more news about this, guys. I would imagine just as well the G20 Leaders Summit meeting is actually going to be very, very big, and I'm definitely going to try to make sure I keep my eyes and ears peeled for any news coming from that, especially if it has anything to do with cryptocurrencies. So again, we're going to be seeing a lot of action taking place here in 2019, guys, leading into 2020. I'm only going to guess that we're going to see some things ramping up in a very big way. So again, we got to make sure that we're paying attention to all this news here. And of course, if you guys happen to know of any information that I might have missed or overlooked, please leave that in the comment section for sure. Definitely thank you for taking the time to watch this video, guys. And again, make sure you're doing your own due diligence when it comes to getting yourself immersed into this kind of information or this entire ecosystem. I'm not a financial advisor, and this is not financial advice. I'm just alerting everyone into understanding that very big things are happening in an expansive way for the cryptocurrency ecosystem, for XRP especially, and of course now we're seeing the big conglomerate Facebook getting themselves into this ecosystem as well with the Libracoin. Whether it is causing concerns all over the globe right now or not, That's not the point. The point is that we're seeing even more exposure now, at least the availability of more exposure to a really large audience out there. And of course, that right there is going to be big when we start seeing more money flooding into the cryptocurrencies market. And of course, also as well, think about when Wall Street starts flooding in their money. That right there is going to make a huge run up when it comes to different types of bull rallies. So again, thank you guys for watching this information here. I definitely appreciate that. Leave your thoughts in the comments section. Of course, if you're new to this channel, please hit the like and subscribe button. And also as well, take advantage of any of the links that I'll leave in the description. Outside of that, thanks again for watching and have a good day. Bye-bye.